Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we were shipping out today and Friday. Our sales are still pretty good, lower than some of the other days, but if I had sales like this every day, I'd be pretty happy. All right, January's been like really insane so far. I want to see how it rounds up, and I might do like a January recap. I normally don't do too many recaps. I did like a yearly one, and then there was like another time I did like a July recap like a couple years ago. But all right, first thing is a combo order. This person reached out, asked if we do combined shipping. We do. So they got 2 RPG books, The Tribunals of Hermes, Iberia. Don't know anything about this one too much other than it's a role-playing game book. People like to read up the lore. This is made like an expansion booklet. This one says White Wolf Studios. I've seen and sold a lot of their stuff before, so I'll pick that up. And then also Archipelagos. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry, The War of Shadows right here. Another someone's gonna say military book. We actually didn't sell any military miniatures today. I was just thinking about how many we've been selling. This is going to be a role-playing book. This is the D20 system. This uses Dungeons and Dragons rules. A lot of people make little modules and adventures piggybacking off of the Dungeons and Dragons rules, and a lot of people like that stuff. So you don't really have to learn a new rule set. You just have to learn new lore and a world, and people like reading that stuff and playing different role-playing games. Sometimes it might be like one session in between, D&D, just to give a little palate cleanser. This ended up going for, I have to do the math real quick, $17.30 for the two. So nothing too fancy. All right, moving along. I have like respect for this game, but it doesn't sell for too much. This is Arcane Legions. This is actually not the box set. This is like one of the booster packs. You've also seen me sell the big starter. I get this stuff in auctions kind of because like I liked the game, and when this came out at a convention, I actually almost got a starter. I just didn't have enough money. I went to like Gen Con. I think I was like 18, 19, or 20. I didn't have enough money to buy a starter set, but it's going to be this like squad leader game where there's going to be like a base, and then you put on like your little miniatures with, I think they're pre-painted. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're pre-painted, so you don't have to paint them. And then you'll have like a stat card, and then you use a bunch of different colored D6 dice, and you're battling other people. It's kind of like different realms and stuff. So it's not real. It's like gonna be like fantasy. There's gonna be like Romans. There's gonna be like an undead faction and stuff like that. There's like minotaurs and stuff. So I got a collection, and I took out all like the rares because they are collectible. You buy booster packs, and then they would have different rarities. So I put the rares and uniques. All the miniatures are inside with the cards. That was like the loose ends of a collection I got at an auction. $16.79. So like, for the person enjoying this game, they're going to get a bunch of rares and stuff. But like I said, it doesn't sell for too much right now, but I still like to pick it up. The other problem with the game is some of the boxes, like the starter set, are kind of big. So a lot of the price goes into shipping. So not only is it doesn't sell for too much, a lot of the price goes into the shipping. But like I said, I still pick it up, and it still sells occasionally. I make a little bit of money. Not too many people bid on this stuff because they also know it doesn't sell for too much. So if I get it for like $2 to $4 to $10 for a collection, I get to make like 30, 40 bucks. I'm happy, and then the people are happy with it. But yeah, that's a cool one for at least me personally. All right. Next up is going to be Betrayal at the House on the Hill. This is going to be a promo event deck pack. This is a really cool game. I haven't played it that much, and I should play it more. You have the base game. This is just an advertisement on the back of the promo pack, and then there's also an expansion. They also have, I believe it's a Baldur's Gate version, so a Dungeons and Dragons one, because Wizards of the Coast owns the IP and like the board game, and like when it gets reprinted, I've sold the base game for I think $8 before. These promos end up going for $9.45. So this is just an example of like promos and extra stuff that's more rare for game can go for more than the base game itself. That goes with a lot of collectibles. But yeah, the game is a really good game where you all start, you pick like a survivor. It might be like a kid with a baseball bat. It might be like a crazy mom who has like an umbrella, or you might pick like a deadbeat old military officer or something. Like there's these different characters that you can pick, and they'll have different like stats on the side of their card, and you enter into the house and you start exploring. So you get to like move and like do an action. Like I said, it's been a long time, so if I get a little bit of the rules wrong, this is going off of like loose memory. I do like the game though. You can find it cheap. Like I said, I sold it for $8, so super good game. And then you'll be drawing events cards, and eventually there's omens that get drawn as well, and the omens have you roll dice, and eventually if you get the right omen in a specific room and a certain dice rolled, like number rolled, a haunt happens. You go into the scenario book. It has 50 different scenarios of how the game proceeds at that point. It changes how the game plays. It might be someone's now playing a murderous doll, kind of like a Chucky Halloween movie. It might be like everyone has doppelgangers, and now you're all in teams together and you have to fight your doppelgangers. So there's 50 scenarios, and it depends on the room that you're in and the omen. Kind of like Clue. You remember when you were like solving Clue, be like, oh, in this room with the wrench, kind of like that, but then like the game changes out. So Sometimes it's co-op, sometimes not, and everyone has to like swap rooms and they have to read the rule book. So if you're I think they call it the trader. If you're the trader, you get the trader's tome. You have to physically in real life go to another room. You got to read the new rules. It lets you know what the players are allowed to know, what stuff you're allowed to keep secret. You might have like a hidden power, and it might be like, well, the first time you devour another person, you get to tell them that, you know, your goal is to eat them all and stuff like that. So really cool game. It's really a thematic game, and it's not really about, you know, trying to min-max the rules and stuff. It's about having a good time and experience. Betrayal of the House Hill. Talked enough about it. Really good one. $9.45 for the promos. All right, we will move on. I just like to talk about the games that I like have been really into before. Like I said, I've only played like 4 or 5 scenarios. All right, this is gonna be cool miniatures or not. These are gonna be a bunch of bases for the Rising Sun board game. It's gonna be like the samurai territory control. I think you either pick like factions or gods, and then you're fighting over like, you know, power and influence and territories. These are gonna be bases, player color bases, like in different sizes for the figures and the miniatures that come in the game. Cool miniatures or not, in their title of their brand, come with a lot of miniatures. And then these are like the little bases that indicate what player has control of that monster. So if you're the yellow player, you can look at the board and you see, you know, like all the ones that have the yellow indicator are the ones that are yours. These end up going for $16.79. I listed that recently. Haven't played the game, so I can't talk about it like Betrayal of the House of the Hill. It doesn't really look like my style. I'm not like a big fan of like big chunky miniatures with territory control. All right. Next up is going to be Gauntlet of Fools. This is also going to be a Kickstarter board game promo pack. I don't know anything about this game. Like, nothing comes to mind. I'm kind of stumped on this one. But I got a little packet of cards. The front one is Cleaver. I can always look up the card and then like, oh, this goes with, you know, that game. And then I just list it as a sealed pack. But yeah, they end up getting this for $15. They sent like a message where they said that the shipping was too expensive for this. They wanted me to put in an envelope with a stamp. You cannot do that. I mean, you can risk it on eBay, but you need to put tracking on eBay. So I don't ever risk it, no matter how cheap or how expensive, how much the person begs or pleads. I will do eBay standard envelope if that could fit. This still has the package, like the brand new package. So I sold it as is. So I could probably try to wiggle that into, but I don't want to, because I like to put my cards in penny sleeves and top loaders and stuff like that, or with cardboard backing, you know, just a way to keep them unbent. This was not going to be one that I was going to put through an envelope. I can see other sellers doing it, but yeah, they told me they would do $20 free shipping or 15 plus shipping, so I took 15 plus shipping. It's like $5. I'll put in this like blacks, like small rigid we have. It's like 6 inches by 6 inches, and then it's, you know, it's no inches tall. You know what I mean? It's like a thin one, and then we'll put like a cardboard back, excuse me, backing to make sure it doesn't get bent. All right. Moving along, we have some Warhammer 40K and fantasy bits and pieces. So it was like this big box I got for like $100. And instead of some of them I organized individually, other ones I just ended up doing a bunch of lots. I made like 160 different lots of them. I just laid them all out, took good pictures so people can scour and scrounge through. I knew they're eventually going to sell them. People are going to find good deals. So if you're into kit bashing and stuff, I probably have a lot of expensive pieces just randomly in my listings, but you have to look. This ended up going for $17 for this pack. So yeah, just a bunch of pieces. I'm not too sure which particular one stood out for them. This was labeled number 120. So that's the easy way for me grabbing them. Obviously, if I mess up the labeling, that's going to be a problem. But that's how I listed those 160 or so lots. All right. Moving along, I have no idea what this iron-on patch is. Chinese Shalon Kung Fu, some kind of iron-on patch. I don't know if this, I have no idea if this was like a board game promo or something. I have there's a lot of random board game promos, or if this was just like unrelated when we were grabbing a bunch of pins, patches of paper ephemera. So don't remember this one, but I ended up going for $15.40. It does look like something I would pick up just because it has like cool art, and then like any kind of words and stuff that denote what it is. People like, you know, showcasing that stuff on their like vests, or maybe like jean jacket, or maybe a craft project, or a backpack, or a handbag. So people put patches all over the place. All right, moving along, we have 2 empty boxes for Magic the Gathering. These were going to be called Fat Packs, I think, back in the day. They didn't change them to bundles yet. Can't remember when they changed them to bundles. We have Ixalan right here. This was going to be like, they had pirates, they had I was almost going to say mermaids. Oh my god, I can't think of it. All right, whatever. They had like pirates, humans, dinosaurs. They had dinosaurs in there. And then they also had Rivals of Ixalan right here, which was the next set after this. This was an interesting one because this was not a 3-block set. I believe it was just 2 blocks for this. And they also have some more recent Ixalan sets, but I've been out of Magic for about like 5 or 6 years. So I've missed probably at least like 30 sets or ancillary products and stuff like that, like the extra master set. So I have no idea like what other Ixalan stuff. I just occasionally they'll throw an ad at me on the internet. So I'll be like, oh, okay, Magic's doing like this again. They're doing Lorwyn again, and they're doing like Ixalan again, and they go back to these worlds. People like these worlds. So I remember this was a pretty good one. I don't remember if these had masterpieces or not, but I want to say, no, I don't think they did. I think that was Amonkhet nearby, but I could be wrong. All right, but these are going to be the boxes. People store cards here, like to collect them. You can see there's art to the cards in the front. But yeah, these end up going for $21 right there. All right, moving along, we have Lara Croft. Sorry, yeah, Tomb Raider, Lara Croft Legends Strategy Guide book. I happened to, as I was pulling this, I saw like I'll scroll through YouTube sometimes and I'll see like the different thumbnails, and I saw a lot of drama about Tomb Raider again. So whenever there's been a lot of drama with Lara Croft and Tomb Raider stuff in the past year or so, and I had a bunch of strategy guide books, so people are occasionally buying them for stuff. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the drama was. I was pulling items. I just was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's why my Lara Croft Tomb Raider book sold. I don't remember this particular video game. I played like the original like PlayStation one. I remember that being like a big deal. Like for a lot of, like, it was innovative and stuff like that. Like people were like, oh, look at what like video games can do. But yeah, strategy guide book. Someone probably is doing it because they're arguing about like her looks and what's a real Lara Croft, what's not. The internet gets really bored sometimes. But hey, I get to sell something from it. $5.10. Someone's gonna be like, see, this is how she's supposed to look. That's all I know is they're just arguing about looks. All right, next up we have an empty box for Pokemon. This is gonna be Sword and Shield, Lost Origins, Giratina or something. I actually don't know this particular Pokemon. I played all the Pokemon games once. I know most of the old ones, but a lot of the newer names, I like, played the game once. I'll play it in like, usually Pokemon takes like 20 to 40 hours depending on like how much extra caves, how many legendary Pokemon I want to get, how far I want to try to catch them all before I just go like, yeah, I'm kind of done with it. So don't fully remember. I know his name starts with a G. But yeah, this ended up going for $7.08. People care about the characters. They get to store their cards. Parents use those as wrapping for gifts for like birthdays, graduations, all that kind of stuff. I actually used to see parents use as packaging for gifts. Instead of like a bag, they get a box, and then their kid gets storage for their cards so they're not all over the ground. That's what they usually would tell me. All right, makes sense. Next up is going to be Pokemon, still popular. Happy birthday banner. So someone's going to have they got the Pikachu banner. I think Annetta picked this up at like a thrift store at some point. I mean, Pokemon's always good stuff to pick up. It's a popular IP. A lot of the stuff sells. It doesn't have to be just the cards. But yeah, $10.07 for a banner. So happy birthday to that person. Hopefully it makes it to them and the post office doesn't mess up. All right, next up is going to be this Ostfront, Eastern Front, Flames of War expansion booklet. So Flames of War is a super popular World War II miniature game. Like right here, they paint up all the figures. They do different battles. There's a rule set. It's trying to be, I believe, realistic. I don't think it's trying to be like fiction. So yeah, this is just one of the particular expansion booklets that's going to have more scenarios, campaigns, and then probably more of like whatever new models they added. So I haven't played the game, so that's about as much as I know about it. But I know a lot of people like bid on the stuff at auctions. I barely get any because people bid on the stuff and they know it sells, and they also like buying it to use it for themselves at auctions. Not everyone going to auctions is like flipping. They're just looking for the stuff they want. So $10.21 for that. Last up is going to be Missing One Card Ascension Apprentice Edition. So this is an interesting one. So this is going to be a deck building game, meaning you start with a base deck and then there's like a market or whatever. Every game calls it differently, where you're using certain purchasing powers and different resources to purchase cards, battle cards, and you're trying to get the most victory points. Ascension was some Magic the Gathering pros. I think a couple of them were the original designers of like the base game. I think this Apprentice Edition is not the base game. They have so many expansions. It was super popular. I played it only once and it didn't click with me. I liked a bunch of deck builders, but for some reason, I think it was just like, it was an aesthetic game, but just not quite my aesthetics. Mechanically, I didn't enjoy it as much as some of the other deck builders I was playing at the time. So, but I understood why it's a good game, why people like it. It just like wasn't my taste. But yeah, this is only missing one card, which is not a big deal. Whatever your marketplace odds are changed from, you have 170 cards in there instead of 171. Like you're changing the odds, like how much, who knows. But yeah, they're also modular. A lot of these expansions you can like mix and match and then like make your own like sets and stuff like that. People like to do that. This ended up going for $11.89, even with missing one card, no box. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone has a good weekend.